For 10 years, the CEO dumped broken engines at a single dad's garage, then her company collapsed. Every Tuesday morning for 10 long years, the same rusty truck stopped outside a forgotten garage at the edge of town. Its cargo was always the same: cracked engines, twisted metal blocks, ruined machine parts that everyone else considered worthless. The delivery papers carried no explanation, only a company logo belonging to one of the largest automobile manufacturers in the country. The workers laughed every time they unloaded the scrap, convinced they were dumping another pile of useless junk onto a struggling single father's property. What nobody knew was that those broken engines were slowly building a future no one could imagine. And when the powerful CEO who ordered those deliveries lost everything overnight, the only person left standing was the men she had ignored for an entire decade. Before we continue, if you believe kindness, hard work, and second chances can change lives, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to Kindness Corner so you never miss another inspiring story. Rowan Mercer had never dreamed of becoming wealthy. His greatest dream was much smaller and much more meaningful. He simply wanted to give his 8-year-old son, Nolan, a peaceful life after losing his wife to a sudden illness. Their tiny garage sat beside an old country road where sunlight filled the yard every morning, and birds sang louder than passing traffic. The building looked worn, its paint faded from years of rain, but inside it was spotless. Every wrench had its place. Every tool was carefully maintained because Rowan believed that respecting his work was the first step toward respecting himself. Money was always scarce. Some weeks only one customer visited. Other weeks no one came at all. Yet every Tuesday another truck arrived carrying discarded engines from Valence Motors, one of the nation's biggest automotive companies. Rowan had never asked for them. The drivers simply unloaded the broken machines, handed him papers to sign, and disappeared before lunchtime. Most people believed the company was using his property as a cheap dumping ground. Friends urged Rowan to refuse the deliveries, but he never did. Instead, after finishing repairs for customers, he spent long afternoons carefully taking each damaged engine apart. He cleaned every bolt, polished every usable component, and stored every valuable piece on carefully labeled shelves. His son often helped by organizing small parts into boxes while learning the names of pistons, crankshafts, and valves. Years passed under bright daytime skies filled with steady work, laughter between father and son, and endless piles of forgotten machinery. Nolan grew from a curious child into a talented teenager who could rebuild an engine almost as skillfully as his father. What looked like mountains of junk slowly became the largest collection of rare engine components in the region. Meanwhile, Valence Motors grew larger every year under the leadership of CEO Celeste Vaughn. She was celebrated in magazines as a brilliant executive who cut costs faster than anyone in the industry. Investors praised her efficiency while employees quietly feared her relentless decisions. To reduce expenses, she eliminated storage facilities, canceled restoration programs, and ordered thousands of damaged engines to be discarded instead of repaired. Sending them to Rowan's small garage cost almost nothing. She never visited the property. She never wondered what happened after the trucks drove away. Then everything changed. A new generation of environmentally friendly vehicles transformed the market almost overnight. Customers wanted reliability, sustainability, and companies willing to recycle valuable materials. Investigations revealed years of wasteful disposal practices across several manufacturers. Valence Motors became the center of public criticism. Investors withdrew their support. Factories slowed production. Contracts disappeared within months. The company that once dominated the industry stood on the edge of bankruptcy. Engineers desperately searched for replacement parts needed to repair thousands of older vehicles still under warranty. Those components were no longer manufactured, and suppliers around the world had already sold their remaining inventories. Then someone remembered the forgotten garage outside town. A small inspection team arrived expecting to find piles of rust buried beneath weeds. Instead, they stood speechless. Inside Rowan's warehouse were thousands of perfectly preserved engine components arranged with incredible precision. Every usable piece from every discarded engine had been restored, catalogued, photographed, and protected from weather. What everyone else had called garbage had become one of the country's most valuable mechanical archives. Word spread quickly. Collectors arrived first. Classic car restorers followed. Automotive museums called within days. Independent manufacturers offered contracts worth millions. Even universities requested access so engineering students could study rare engine designs that had almost disappeared forever. For the first time in his life, Rowan didn't have to worry about paying bills. His garage expanded into a respected restoration center employing mechanics who had once struggled to find work. Young apprentices learned not only how to repair engines but also why nothing should be dismissed simply because it looked broken. Nolan enrolled in engineering school while continuing to work beside his father every afternoon, determined to honor the lessons he had learned among shelves filled with forgotten possibilities. Months later, Celeste Vaughn quietly visited the garage herself. The confident executive who once commanded thousands of employees walked through the doors with tired eyes and no security team. She looked around at rows of restored machinery, realizing she had spent years throwing away opportunities she never bothered to understand. Rowan greeted her with the same calm kindness he showed every visitor. He carried no anger. He demanded no apology. Success had not changed the values that kept him moving through years of hardship. When Celeste admitted her company had little chance of surviving without help, Rowan surprised everyone again. Rather than humiliating the woman whose decisions had unknowingly helped build his future, he offered fair business partnerships, shared technical knowledge, and agreed to supply the parts they desperately needed, at honest prices that protected both businesses. The newspapers called it an unbelievable act of generosity. Rowan simply called it the right thing to do. His son later said that broken engines had never really changed their lives. It was his father's refusal to waste anything, not machines, not opportunities, and certainly not people, that made all the difference. If this story has touched your heart so far, please write the word hope in the comments to show that kindness and patience are never wasted. As Valence Motors slowly recovered through honest rebuilding instead of shortcuts, Rowan's story inspired countless people to believe that quiet perseverance often creates miracles no one sees coming. The greatest treasures are rarely found in perfect places. Sometimes they arrive disguised as burdens, waiting for someone brave enough to recognize their hidden value. If this story inspired you, please like, comment, share this video with your family and friends, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. Your support helps us continue sharing stories that remind the world compassion, resilience, and forgiveness still exist. Because in the end, the greatest engine that can rebuild a broken future is not made of steel, it is made of kindness, patience, and a heart that never gives up.